Hi, my name is Gustavo. I am from Brazil and I decided to shoot this video in English to tell the world what's happening here in Brazil. And believe me, what the mainstream media is publishing is the exact opposite. It couldn't be further from the truth. So what happens is, unlike United States, Brazil has been dominated by leftist parties for the last 40 years. And so we don't have this balance that you guys have in the United States. We've always had leftist presidents in power, except for the last 16 months. It's been the first time since the democratization of Brazil that we were able to elect a conservative president. And let me tell you, they didn't like that. They thought they had the complete dominance, complete power over our nation. And now they realized that they don't, and they are not accepting that very well. So what happens is, the Supreme Court here in Brazil has been chosen, the members of the Supreme Court, they have been chosen by leftist parties. Not just leftist parties, I'm talking about criminal organizations like the Labor Party, PT here in Brazil, PSDB, which is another socialist party. And they chose the members of the Supreme Court not for merit, but because they were previously lawyers of crime. Yes, most of them had never been judges. They were lawyers, attorneys defending criminals and defending criminal parties. And that's why they were chosen to become members of the Supreme Court. So having said that, I just told you that they lost the election in 2018 and we were able to elect the first conservative president in our history. The thing is, for the last 40 years, they completely dominated the public machinery, right? The institutions, the governmental institutions, and they infiltrated all areas of our government. I'm talking about the press, they infiltrated education. In Brazil, we don't have education. We have indoctrination, institutionalized indoctrination. And I know that because I am a teacher. I have been a teacher for 21 years, so I know that firsthand. So the thing is, they lost the election, and now they are trying to destroy the president using the Supreme Court, which is completely communist. And I'm talking about like declared communists. And they are trying to criminalize, to say that the current president, Bolsonaro, is trying to create some sort of a coup or destruction of our democracy. But the truth is the opposite. In Brazil, we have a certain thing called constitution, right? Well, the Supreme Court should be the first one to guard the constitution. But what they are doing is the opposite. They are violating, they are destroying our constitution. They are sending to prisons people, innocent people, just because they were protesting on the streets. And protesting asking for one thing, for the STF to respect our constitution. And for that, they have been considered criminals by the Supreme Court. They are just so you understand, it's illegal for the Supreme Court to start an investigation. Well, they did that. And they did that based on what? Based on newspaper clips, on the press, based on the press, which is leftist. It's a total illusion what's happening here. Our freedom of speech has been thrown in the garbage, and the press here, the mainstream media, is how can I explain? It's hiding from the world what's really happening. They are pretending that it's okay, but it is not. So every Sunday, thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people go to the streets to protest against the Supreme Court. But I bet that you have never seen those protests. You have never seen hundreds of thousands of people, right? Because they don't show that. They want to hide from the world what's happening in Brazil. And the truth is, yes, our democracy is being destroyed, but by the Supreme Court and the mainstream media and the leftist parties. Yes, we are losing our rights, but by the Supreme Court, helped by the media and the leftist parties. What is happening in Brazil is an abomination. Every day, the federal police, which is now the new Gestapo of the Supreme Court, is invading houses of YouTubers accused by a crime, but the truth is that all they do, like me, is just to make videos like this saying that the Supreme Court has done a lot of illegal things and we don't know what to do anymore. The reason why I'm shooting this video and trying to tell you what's happening here in Brazil, which is a coup, they're trying to destroy a democratically elected president in the country with a majority of conservative people, because they did not accept losing power. It's as if Hillary Clinton bought the Supreme Court and started paying the Supreme Court to invent investigations and crimes against Donald Trump, which, by the way, it's not so different actually than what's happening in the United States. So what I'm trying to say is, the world is going through a crisis right now. We know the leftism, the libtards and the communists, they are doing their best. They are putting all chips, all cards on the table because they want power, whatever cost, right? The two countries here in America, and I'm talking about North, Central, and South America, the only two countries that have stood up against this communism domination has been Brazil and United States. Donald Trump and Bolsonaro are pretty much the last two warriors in the Western world that are still willing to fight this communism domination, right? This leftist domination, the progressivism. And we need to help each other. Brazil is considered the farm of the world, or the barn of the world, because we are the biggest producer of food in the world. United States, it's the technological center of the world. If we join forces, we can defeat, at least in America, in our Americas, we can save our nation, our Western civilization. Because the way I see it, Europe is gone. Europe, by the leftists and the Muslim, they are gone. We can still save our continent. But for that to happen, you need to understand something. Everything the mainstream media says about Brazil and what's happening in Brazil, it's a lie. Bolsonaro has been fighting the virus since day one. They have done, but the Supreme Court took from the president, look at this, they took from the president the authority to fight the virus and gave it to mayors and governors, most of them leftists. So, and now they want to blame Bolsonaro for what's happening, which is just, it's ridiculous. It's so stupid I can't even begin to describe. So don't believe what the mainstream media is saying. We Brazilian people, we are mostly conservative. We believe in God, we believe in our family institution, we believe in free market. But we have been silenced for the last decades, right? But now we don't want to accept that anymore. And they are trying to do everything they can to censor us, to shut us up, to silence us. So please pass this video to other people. Let the American people understand what's happening. We should become allies. Together we can destroy this communism, we can destroy the leftists, and we can save our families, we can save our faith, we can save our society. This is Gustavo Geyer asking for the world, for the reasonable people in the Western world to come together now and fight the evil. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.